Good morning.
Good morning, Aaron. How are you today?
Pretty nice. Pretty nice feeling.
Yeah.
I entered a great environment here at your home today, and that was nice to
Well,
join.
it's a cleaning environment today. We're clearing and cleaning and attempting to get this space into the sanctuary that it deserves to be. And even though it is smaller than what I'm used to having in regards to multiple acres, this is just 1 acre, yet it's extremely beautiful and filled with nature. And in fact, I'm looking at two lovely saffron finches over there. And on the farm that we previously had, there were two saffron finches that came every day, and they were amazing. I mean, just to watch them and the way that they interacted with one another, and seemed like they were just really in love being with one another, but also enjoying what nature had to offer. And I call them Hansel and Gretel, and it's
Do
fascinating
they come
because
here often?
uh, yeah, they come every day, but they also not the same ones, but they did come to the sanctuary that we had, which was our 15-acre organic farm. And it's just so nice and lovely to be able to see wildlife and nature and how they just intrinsically know how to act. And we as human beings, because we have free will, we really are struggling to try to figure out how to act with this wonderful environment. And now another bird just flew up on that beautiful orchid tree. So, yeah, so this is wonderful. I mean, it's great to be here considering what is going on in the world.
I think it is hard to understand how you're supposed to act in this world, especially whenever it comes to enjoying the present moment.
Well, realistically, we've been programmed, and I feel that that's a wonderful term because the industry has just led us into through movies and television and things like that into the way that we're supposed to be, the way that we're supposed to think. And you look at the popular things that are going on right now in the world, and you'll see the Kardashians, and you'll see what's happening in their lives, and then you'll see Johnny Depp and Amber Heard and
Right.
what's going on in their life, and then you'll look at the world and you'll witness the fact that Ukraine is being taken over by Russia, and then we were just in lockdown for just about 2 years. That was supposed to be 2 weeks, and that is still going on. But fortunately, we don't have the heavy restrictions that we had before.
Yeah. Part of trying to understand how to enjoy a single day is to also have context for what is around that day. What what is impacting everything around you? Why should you enjoy the day? What is happening in a significant worldly in depth? Like what is going on around you? And then you can realize that the birds are chirping out there.
And what are they chirping about? Just
They have a
happy,
song. They want to enjoy
just
themselves.
happy to be alive.
Yeah,
That's what they're chirping about.
right.
And it's beautiful because in the morning they're chirping, they're singing,
Hmm.
they're happy, and then they come back at sunset.
Now you're enjoying yourself here in front of your yard, and you're enjoying the space and the freedom to see the birds chirping. But then we also have smoke that's probably evident to people who are watching on the video on YouTube. That smoke, what's the smoke coming? What is the smoke that you're enjoying here?
Well, it's the smoke from the resin frankincense from the Sultan of Oman. And frankincense comes from three places on the planet. and it comes from India and Africa, and also this Sultan of Oman, which is on the Arabian Peninsula. And I actually was fortunate to be able to go there over 20 years ago and get this source.
And you've been getting this particular frankincense since then?
Well, realistically, I won't have any other frankincense. It just does. Frankincense is wonderful. It's beautiful. It does have the active ingredients of sesquiterpenes and boswellic acids. But this is called Boswellia sacra. And the sacra is the species, and the sacra, it's like sacred. It's such a wonderful aroma, and it puts you in this just exquisite state to where you're totally relaxed, and you are aware of what's going on, because it will help your brainwave frequency to kind of jump out of that beta state, which is 14 to 32 cycles per second, into an alpha state, which is 7 to 14 cycles. And within that 7 to 14 cycles, you're just, you're in a be here now moment, and you can really start to resonate what that means and what it's all about.
Now, a couple days ago, Katie and I, my wife and I, were talking, and I was tasting a piece of chocolate, and I was saying it has this berry flavor, and she said, "Oh yeah, cacao has many different flavors."
Yes.
Is that kind of the same thing with frankincense?
Absolutely. You will find, and in fact, there are resin crystals, and this particular resin is called haugery. And haugery is the highest form of the resin crystals that are collected from the frankincense. And frankincense in some areas, especially Somalia, Africa, and in India, because it's the people are very impoverished, and so they're just running through the areas that frankincense is grown, and they are taking too much of the resin. The resin is the sap of the tree, and in order to get it, you've got to scar the tree. And so you have these people that are scarring, and they aren't allowing the trees to regenerate and rejuvenate. So that's why frankincense is going to be, and it already is, extremely valuable. Yeah. At the time of Christ, if you had a bag of frankincense, you could buy anything. It was used for barter.
On that note, you told me, personally, and I know this is something that I don't think you're afraid to talk about, is that you see frankincense as an investment, and in that way, you've invested into that, whereas to be brutally honest, the American dollar is going down in value.
Yes, it is.
So if someone was to make a shot in the dark to find out what investment would actually hold true,
yes,
you've decided on frankincense being that thing for you.
Well, it's fascinating because with the unknown monetary position of the world, people are actually starting to become fearful of, where do I invest? What do I do if I've got some extra money? And to me, you're witnessing what's happening to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just becoming worthless, and
apparently it's like the first wave of crypto in that generational scheme of things, and then the first generation is no longer as valuable as potentially what Bitcoin and cryptocurrency could be.
Could be, right. Well, and I'm seeing that there is going to be a great shift, especially with the dollar, because it is based on petro. It's called the petrodollar.
Right.
And so when we start losing that grip on petroleum, which we are right now, it's going to be fascinating to see what will happen to the dollar. So that's one of the reasons I have invested heavily. I mean, I mean not heavily, but as much extra cash that I have,
Yeah.
I will actually put into frankincense resin and frankincense oil, because I'm convinced that it can only rise in value. And then, we have challenges with our supply chains. I mean, who knows what's going to happen in the next, even, 90 days. And here we are in paradise, and the Hawaiians didn't ever need anything coming from Amazon. I mean,
Their Prime packages, you don't think they were receiving them?
No, I don't think so. And and Costco wasn't here, and the other things weren't, and so I'm really seeing and feeling that people need to invest in their own way of, and it goes beyond survival. I mean, I love to eat food, and there's many foods that I do eat, and there are things that I absolutely do buy. But right now, I am leaning towards attempting to grow as much as I possibly can here, and to feed myself and also those around me. And
you're thinking that frankincense, and to think about taking care of yourself and the people around you in a very local sense, without having to rely on imports, is really important at this time.
It's absolutely crucial. I think it's more than important that we have to really start realizing that we are an island, we're isolated, and
we've got food on this island.
There's so much abundance here.
Yeah, it's just choreographing the right sense of community to make it happen.
Well, and especially since obviously I'm not blood Hawaiian. I feel like Hawaiian in my heart and my soul. Yet those that are Hawaiian, really through their genetic ancestry, they used to have everything that they needed here. They wanted, and for nothing. But of course, they were very much into an aspect of war. The idea of what aloha is and hula is that one part of the aspect of Hawaiian culture that is very positive, but there's also a dark side. And that dark side, they were warriors. And if they wanted something from another chief, they'd go get it. And they'd either die doing it or kill somebody else to get it. And then when they came back, they were considered heroes. So if you look at, things like war, for instance, war is something that is really so negative and so dark and so phenomenally it's almost demonic to want to be able to go to another country and not even know the people, and to have to kill them. For what?
It's funny how that's a theme still to this day, even with 21st century artillery and technology, and even potentially, cultural mindset shifting.
Yes.
And you would think that maybe we could endeavor to make a better world where war wasn't something that we would have to use to try and achieve change and betterment of society, but it's not going anywhere.
No,
War
it's,
is
war is
it's
it, and
constantly going to happen.
yeah, it's an industrial military
Construct
complex.
and plex, yeah.
Yeah, and people go, kids go, when you're 18 and you're, you don't have any vision in regards to what life can give you.
Right. And how far is war really affecting the the positive value set that the country itself is trying to achieve over, like, not just uh, control over a certain area. It's also economic gain,
Absolutely.
and that's the thing, that's the cultural. I mean, I think most of us would recognize that at this point. I mean, after the Vietnam War, so many people were against war in a public outlook,
Yes.
and in that same instance, you see the Vietnam War, and I hear people nowadays talking about how they went to war and they saw that people were just fighting to keep their land, fighting
Yeah.
to keep their home at bay. And if war came here, we would be doing the same thing. But there's such a humanity to the people who are seen as the enemy.
Well, again, that's a construct. The aspect of like, I remember Cassius Clay, who became Muhammad Ali, and they wanted to draft him during that time. And he said, there's no way that I'm going to go and kill people that I have nothing against, not at all. Why would I do that? And so he went to jail.
Now that's a stance.
And that's
An admirable,
right, and
admirable trait.
and that's like probably one of the best prize fighter in the entire world. And he just said, I'm not going. I don't believe in this. I will not do this. I will not go and kill people for something that I really don't believe in anyway.
Now, on that note, war being connected to it's a never-ending story. It feels like war is a never-ending story. So that's where we're at right now. We're dealing with the beginning stages of potentially war, riddling this whole world at this current moment.
You're absolutely
we're
right.
dealing with another world war, but it's not like wars haven't been uncommon around the world this whole time. It's just constantly been a theme, and now it's just the same war is now affecting everyone.
Well, now it's a reality. I mean, what we're doing is that Ukraine is being supposedly invaded by Russia, but a lot of people don't know is that they've been at war for 8 years.
Yeah.
And now it's just escalating.
Right.
And now, because of NATO, which is a huge threat to Russia, has all of these defense systems around these countries that are surrounding Russia. So they are, flexing their muscle. They're saying, no, this is not happening. We're going to take Ukraine because it is a part of Russia. And even though they have their own language and things like that, they're still considered to be Russian Ukrainians, and it's just, once again, it's another sad reality of fallen humanity. And then we have these people that are loose cannons, and they could use nuclear weapons to literally destroy the planet.
Yeah. It's funny. We have evolved. War has evolved, and now we're now on a front where it's just guns and shooting, and it's also psychological, and it's for a long time we've been escalating and upgrading the kind of war that we play, the war games, and yeah, you're right. I mean, to get into the game, you have to have nuclear weapons. But, I mean, Russia is highly involved in some sort of social, you know, game that they're playing online with us
Oh
on our
yeah,
social media.
yeah. Well, I mean,
I mean, it's not just them either.
well, the thing is that Russia and China are uh, obviously not democratic nations.
No, yeah,
They're
communist.
communist nations, and so together they have quite the military might and prowess.
Right. With our help, with the United States actually having helped them get to where they were.
Yeah, well, the United States
Deep
is,
pockets.
yeah, has helped a lot of people, but it's also hindered a lot of people.
Right.
I mean, if you look at the reality of the United States, I mean, we stole it from the Native Americans, and then
Yeah.
we stole it from the Hispanics, from the Mexicans.
It's a never-ending, it's a
Yeah.
never-ending war,
And-
just fighting for more land.
and
Here
and
we
on
have
this
it here.
and on this beautiful island that we're on,
Hmm.
and islands,
Yeah.
we stole that too. And realistically, it's kind of that evolution of what goes on, especially regarding war, because the Hawaiian Islands are over 2,500 miles away in the Pacific Ocean, and it's a stronghold. And I'm really believing that if the United States wouldn't have got it, then UK would have come in, or Russia,
Oh, right.
or
Exactly.
Japan.
It's the middle of, it's a major passageway
That's right.
through the Pacific.
Yes.
So, I know in all of your knowledge and all of your connections to things, can you connect this this intense topic of war to our daily lives and how we should be living it
Well,
right now?
One thing I'm attempting to overcome is language. I'm attempting to take out of my language should, could, would,
Okay.
because those are excuses. I mean, it's like, well, Aaron, like I'm really fortunate because I had the opportunity to buy a really nice used MacBook Pro, and we do have a radio station which we intend to take some of these podcasts and create what we want to create and call the Hawaiian Wellness Hour,
Right.
which hopefully you'll be hearing soon from our radio station. I'll put a plug. It's KONA 100.5 on your dial. It's low power FM. So if you're not in Kona proper, you won't get it, but you can get it if you're in another part of the world, and you can go to our website, www.kona1005.org. And the situation is that I got this laptop. I was really happy because Aaron and I have been talking about doing these podcasts and things, and also doing radio shows, which I'm still inept at doing them. I haven't taken the time out to really study it, and that's another thing that I need to do. I must do, but also we actually put all the programs into this computer so that we could use it for radio shows, and lo and behold, I can't remember what my password is.
Right.
Can't get in.
Right.
And Aaron used to work for an Apple store.
Mac made easy.
Yeah, and
Just getting your password is, I mean, to fix anything in that computer, you have to get through that password first.
yes, and so they did not teach people how to do that.
Not where I was working.
Yeah, well, because it's a violation.
Yeah, right. It's a
And-
security precaution.
Yeah, and so I'm just going to have to pray that I know how to get past this and
Yeah.
reset it.
Or remember the password.
That would be a good idea.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But-
It might come to you. when you're not realizing that.
Well, it very well could, but then again, there's the could, should, would.
Yeah.
I mean, I really need, and I thought that in my wonderful iPhone that I had put
Wrote
it
down.
in there,
Mhm.
and I didn't. So,
So you're thinking about it in a positive light, that
Yeah.
you will have it come
yeah.
up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it'll come up one way or another, and it's going to happen. Yet the thing is that we have to again remember what we came here for, and what did we come here for? We certainly didn't come here to control, to dominate, and to have other beings as our slaves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's done. That's over with. And we just had Juneteenth, which was the celebration of the Emancipation Proclamation to make slavery illegal. And a lot of people don't even know what Juneteenth is.
I actually had to talk to you about it.
Yeah, right.
To find out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny. I hadn't even heard about Juneteenth.
Yeah. Well, it's
And
wild.
It just got brought up recently for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is the first time I've ever heard of it.
Because you're not black. And
That-
I hate to be,
Black.
biased or prejudiced or whatever, but you're brown and I'm white and people are black and they're red and they're yellow and we aren't aware of that. Now, if you talk to a black person, they'd be all over you for it.
Yeah, right. And I do feel bad that I didn't know. Although it is strange that it never occurred to me, or I never saw a calendar with it saying Juneteenth on it.
Yeah. And yet businesses were taking off, banks were closed. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's just a real funny thing.
Well, it was on the same day as Father's Day.
Yeah.
And I mean, you would think that would be pretty. Have you been aware of Juneteenth for how long have you known about?
Oh,
that?
just a few years, because I have some people that are very, very into their culture.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what? Social media has definitely helped to make things
yeah.
more cognitively aware.
And also make you a lot more
Less aware.
Oh God, it's inundated us with information.
Right. Well, speaking to what we were talking about before about, enjoying your life in the presence of today, just enjoying today. The funny thing is you have to have an awareness of the before and after, the significance of history and the significance of where you're going. It makes today, the present day, where you are, what you're doing in this current day, that much more important.
Yes.
Because you could value the before, where you were, and why today is so important. I mean, maybe that's why we have coffee, because we have to remember to be able to have the experience.
Well, I think that's why we have frankincense, because it helps you to remember, as Teilhard de Chardin said.
You said that today too. You took a whiff, or you wafted some frankincense in, and you breathed it in.
In fact, I'm going to put a little more frankincense on.
Okay. And after you breathed it in, you said, remember, and you called a friend of yours.
Yes.
Can you tell us why you said remember?
Well, because it's a member.
Mm-hmm.
It's bringing you back into, as Teilhard de Chardin said, is that we are not physical beings having an occasional spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having an occasional physical experience. And frankincense has this ability to help you remember the reason you came on this planet. And it's more than eating, drinking, and sleeping, more than just the physical, material, tangible world. It's something that is deep into what is Aaron all about. What are you all about, Aaron? What do you want to do? I mean, is it just the fact that you came to Hawaii, you fell in love, you have this beautiful family, and you're taking care of them as best as any human being possibly can?
Oh, give me that frankincense right now.
Yeah. Oh, it's true.
I ask myself that question a lot, and you know what? I think it's a continuing question, or it's a continuing conversation
Daily.
daily. Yes, but
Yeah.
I do think that as the days pass, I'm realizing how important community is, and how you can't do anything alone. And my family remind me of that every single day. The family that I have here and the ones that I have back home in
Yeah.
California and in Montana now because my family grew. So
Exactly. Which is beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
but remembering the significance of those things is one of the most important things to do. When you start to forget, you're going into this depravity, this
Yes.
place of nothing, this nothingness. And there is nothing to live for when you don't have
Well, and then
that.
what you want to do is you will actually denigrate another human being or another living being so that you feel better. And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's really bizarre.
Right, right. And I have been drinking more coffee recently, and I feel like that plays a part in being cognizant and valuing
Mm-hmm.
my time. But it's not the greatest thing for you, not to be drinking coffee. Frankincense, that's you inhale and you are connected in that way.
Well, you're
Or you have a droplet and you put under your,
well,
or you put it under your nose or something.
well, you are connecting to yourself. That's what frankincense reminds you of. Is how you have every component within you that you need. You don't need to go outside of yourself if you really get to that space.
It's beautiful. Now, do you have a ceremony often? Do you engage in some sort of practice
Every
for
day.
how long per day?
Well, it's for instance, this is a charcoal.
Okay.
And the charcoal will burn approximately 20, 30 minutes. And I will do a breathing ritual and just get into the breath. And breathing, if you do it properly, you don't have to have the frankincense, but the frankincense enhances what your uh, your your vision is, and it clears you. It makes you to the point to where, as I said, you remember that spirit and that soul deep inside of you.
That's beautiful. Um, on that note, you have a paper in front of you that you wrote for something that's coming up in the future. Could we talk about that for a second?
Sure, yeah. Um, I was on the board of directors for New Thought Center Hawaii, which is it's a really wonderful type of, for lack of a better term, you might call it a religious organization, but it's based on new thought. I mean, thinking out of the box, and it is non-denominational, so you can come in whatever type of denomination you came from, even if you don't believe, because there's very unique things that you can discover through it. And the cool thing about New Thought Center Hawaii is that we don't have a minister. We minister to ourselves. So if you're part of the congregation, you don't have one person that is ministering you every week, and giving you that outlook, that worldview of what life ought to be. So,
Where do you guys get your ideas?
well, there's books, there's publications, and things like that.
Is it a combination from different religions, or is it?
Yeah, it's all religions. I mean, it's Hindu, it's Buddhist, it's Judaism, it's Christianity. It's all of those that are put together, and which is amazing. And yet you do not have one rabbi or one guru or one pastor. You've got people coming in once a week, and they're giving their view of the world.
Just perspective.
Yes.
That's beautiful. And
Yeah.
in many ways, I would say, even if you are of a particular
Denomination.
faith,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you are, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if there's a guy who on the other side of the room or the other side of the planet believing in the same thing as you. You will very likely have different beliefs in many ways.
Yes. Yeah. And so I was president for 3 years, and they asked me to come back and to give a presentation. So on July 3rd, the day before July 4th, the Independence Day, I am going to give a presentation at New Thought, and that will be from 9 until 11:30. And then at 1:30 to 3, I'm going to have an experiential session with it. So that will be pretty cool as well.
Did you already tell us? Can you tell us where it's going to be located so people can join?
Well, New Thought is in the it's in the Mango Court that's up in Kealakekua in Hawaii, the big island of Hawaii.
Right. Well, hopefully listeners might be even in the area.
That's true. Yeah. Providing this goes on so that they have a week to be able to prepare for it.
Right. Let's make it happen then.
So I just called this that we are the ones we have been waiting for. And it's kind of like the awakening of humanity, because it's time. I mean, we are really on that precipice of coming into a higher consciousness that will redeem humanity and save our planet.
It's very deep.
Yeah. So, we are the ones we have been waiting for. Indeed, we are experiencing times of great changes. The very existence of our planet and our human species is at extreme risk. Accepting the responsibility of our true self and higher purpose of earthly life is at hand. Taking into consideration all of the external chaos filtering through our daily lives, we are inundated with information. Yet, where is the truth based on divine wisdom? We are tasked to go deep within and seek the truth of our personal existence. How do we navigate these seas of cosmic shift? Belief systems have been in place since the dawn of earthly existence. And guess what? They're all BS. Therefore, as we are beings of free will, let us join in a choice of beliefs that are free of guilt, fear, blame, shame, and suffering. Taking a step forward toward wholeness and oneness of all beings. Thought directs energy, energy follows thought. Free your mind of needless information and seek the magic buried deep within the depths of your own soul. Where's the knowledge that's lost in the information? And where's the wisdom that's lost in the knowledge? As the Hawaiians say, we're all paddling the same canoe. We must keep each other in sync with that paddling as we are determined to reach our mutual destinations. That does not mean to sacrifice yourself. It means as a person becomes solid in themselves, they are willing to help another person. Our experiential journeys can be heightened by choosing the path of tools for illumination. Breathing deeply, eating soundly, and living compassionately. The use of sacred frankincense oil and resins from the Sultanate of Oman clears the gateway to achieve a higher, balanced consciousness. And so it is.
You wrote that?
I wrote it.
I find it harder. I mean, I would say I'm an artist, but
Absolutely.
the I mean, writing something like that was beautiful. It was very well written.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hmm. When you say that religions are BS,
Oh, not religions.
oh, okay, faiths, or what was that?
I said belief systems
Belief systems. Okay.
are BS.
Hmm.
That's where the BS comes from, is the belief system.
That's an interesting way of putting it.
And we choose our own belief systems.
Would you elaborate on what you mean by that?
Well, for instance, if I'm a dog, a cat, a mouse, a rat, an animal, I don't have free will, really. I'm stuck within that realm of being a dog, a cat, a rat, a raccoon, a lion, a tiger. That's what I am. And I can't change the spots on those leopards.
No.
But as human, we have free will, which makes us a higher form of consciousness.
That's beautifully said.
But what's the will that we choose? That's why I said I love frankincense, because it helps me remember that I have a choice.
Oh, I think one of the hardest things for, I think when you have to make the choice to be better and not get angry or get upset or get frustrated and get overwhelmed to the point where you can't think about tomorrow, you can't think about the next moment. That is something that humans are capable of overcoming, and I have a problem dealing with that sometimes. And you saying that frankincense helps you remember, and hearing those beautiful words, I'm very drawn by your presentation there already.
Well, thank you. And I hope you make it and you film it.
Well, if I do, then everybody here watching on Hawaiian Wellness on YouTube will definitely be involved too.
That
'cause
would be wonderful.
We'll have to share it.
Yeah, yeah. It needs to be shared. It's something that's really valuable. Really valuable.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, again, it's almost like a poetry. It's almost like poetry. What you wrote there.
Well, life is poetry.
Yeah. And I just appreciate how you can put together big ideas and connect them in so many ways.
Well, big ideas happen. It's just the execution of them. I mean, I look at this space and, I'm seeing it in its exquisiteness. Yet I still see all the things that need to be done in order for it to get to open up to our community, because I'd love to have some gatherings here. I think it'd be wonderful.
I find it I think it is wonderful that you have the insight and always the curiosity and possibility in your mind to make these ideas happen. And it always seems like you have a plan to make it happen. So watching that happen is almost like watching something magical happening.
Well, life is magic.
Yeah.
And there are infinite possibilities.
Right.
And it's like, as you said, it can't be done alone.
No, it's
we've got to got to have our tribe. We must have our people. We've got to be able to express and to emote and to feel and to be a part of that and to just be strong enough and courageous enough to be within that matrix of divine love. And it ain't easy.
No, no, it's not. I mean, I feel like oh man, we use the words I sometimes, and it just makes me feel like that's the point in the heart that is the narcissist.
Yeah.
And
Well, I mean, language and its expression and things like that.
mhm.
But language is important, and it's wonderful. Like you said. I mean, I was looking at this and just kind of allowing it to come through me. And when you do that, what is that source? That's not me. It is not me. That's coming from a different realm that is using me as a tool of expression.
It's beautiful. Yeah, when you were writing that, did it just
Just
start to
comes.
write itself?
Yeah, just comes. Oh, it's just, you'll ask these great writers that are writing. I mean, where does it come from?
That sounds like the connection with soul and potentially even God.
It is. It absolutely is.
That connection right there is what even writers who wouldn't even have a faith or who don't even necessarily have to have any particular faith would die for, to be connected on that level.
That's right. And so that's why we're not dying right now. We're living.
Yeah.
And we're going to do more than survive. We're going to thrive.
Right.
And if anything does go on in the world, we can thrive here. And that's one of the reasons all the billionaires are buying up land on the islands, because it's safe.
That would be great to have a billionaire neighbor. Then I could go over and have a new mindset to be hanging out with every day.
Well, we'll work on it.
Yeah, maybe there will be a billionaire moving in across the street at one point, and
They wouldn't move here. They would definitely move to where all the millionaires live.
yeah,
And, that's on the Gold Coast. But, I look at what is a millionaire, what is a billionaire, what is wealth, and does it buy happiness? No. And happiness is something that just is inside of all of us, and we have to open it up.
and it's our human possibility that we were given, just being human and not another creature. That free will.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's in us. Absolutely. So, Aaron, I think that we ought to somehow have an ending to this if
Yes.
we can.
Well, I know there is something significant that had happened with the radio station recently. Could you just give us an update on that?
Well, what happened is that our transmitter, unfortunately, just went down. And we had to go off the air for a little while. More than likely, we'll be back on air when it comes back from the manufacturer, with probably in another maybe 4 or 5 days. And people are unaware how much it costs to have a radio station. It's expensive. This is an FCC, low power FM station, which is totally legal. And we support the island. We call ourselves the Voice of Kona. And we go to a lot of the events that are happening with musicians, with DJs, other aspects of the island. In fact, I was just contacted by 2 people that are running for office, and they wanted to be interviewed. And I just said, well, being a nonprofit, we have to make sure that we just don't interview you. We've got to, how many people are running in that office? And it's our responsibility to ask those 5 other people.
To then reach out and make it happen.
That's right.
Which
That's
is a big
right.
responsibility.
It's huge.
So it's almost like you either may not even do the interviews at all.
That's right.
And it requires a lot of energy and time
Yes,
in that space.
that's right. That's right. So here we are.
Well, you've spent lots of money to be able to, I know you've spent lots of money to be able to bring back the station into its working place.
Well, there's tens of thousands of dollars.
But
not-
recently, with this faulty equipment,
Oh yeah.
you had to invest more money
Yeah.
into it.
Well, and then also you have to look at the time. None of us are getting paid. And what would a top DJ be paid? They'd probably be getting, 60, 70, 80,000, 100,000 bucks a year. We're not getting that. But we are getting the satisfaction of being able to do this. So it's cool.
Yeah.
And we need help from the community. We're going to be having our 12th annual Mango Festival on August the 13th, and it will be at Halawai. And it's going to be the juiciest event on the island for all people, families. We're going to have the delicious food, mango sampling, mango grafting, mango trees, and music. And then in the evening, we're going to have a special fundraiser for Kona 1005. We're going to ask for a $10 donation, and please help us.
Can people donate online?
They can. Yeah, just go to Kona 100.5, or actually Kona1005.org, and there's a donate button.
Please donate. Please help. There's so many beautiful things happening, and this man has put in lots of effort to
not this man, these men and women.
Right.
Okay? Yeah.
Yeah.
It can't just come from me.
Lots of community effort, and every single time you and I talk about projects, the word "we" comes up in the project or in the explanation, and I'm always truly I admire that. It's always a community effort with you.
That's what we're all about. So blessings on you, Aaron. Blessings on our planet. Blessings on the opportunity for infinite possibilities. And just know that we're here to love one another. But first, love yourself. Put that oxygen mask on yourself first. It's important. So, ahui-o, dear friends.
Ahui ho.